Hello everyone, welcome. The astrology right now at the moment is huge and it's also highly emotionally charged. So in this video, which is a moon energy update, I'm first of all going to talk to you about how you can harness the higher vibration of difficult emotions. This is an area I am passionate about. I mean, welcome everyone. Welcome those of you who are part of this community already and you're returning. It's amazing to be reconnecting with you. Welcome everyone who's new. So anyone who doesn't know me, in my sort of former, what I would call mainstream life, I worked as an accredited counsellor for over 30 years. So emotions are very, very big on my agenda. I think I've spent long enough walking alongside people to kind of know how we break down, how we collapse, how we stumble, how we fall over, but also how we pick ourselves back up again. And understanding our emotions is really, really key to this. This is also why I'm passionate about working with the lunar energy, because the moon, as far as I have seen directly, and I've spoken to lots and lots and lots of people over the years, I have really seen how the moon has an influence on us emotionally. Now, there's so much big astrology going on. I'm not going to talk about all of the astrological configurations. There are tons of amazing astrologers here on YouTube that you can tune into for in-depth knowledge and experience of all of these things. But I am going to talk to you about the lunar influence for the coming month. And this is what I call a moon month. A moon month begins with a new moon. That's the starting point of every moon month. A moon month is 29.5 days approximately. That's how long it takes for the moon to navigate around the Earth. She's our satellite. As she does, she's kind of tuning into the astrological configurations, the energy, the essence of the astrological configurations as she navigates around the Earth. And sometimes, depending on the moon phase, this can escalate the energy, or indeed sometimes it can slightly soften it. Really depends what's happening. So I'm going to talk about the energy of the coming month. I always do a moon energy update every month here on the channel. Do subscribe if you want to make sure you never miss any of these, or indeed any of my readings. But today I want to talk to you a little bit about how to navigate emotions, especially when they are sort of situations that are emotionally charged. Because right now the astrology is, oh, I think I just saw a beautiful little orb. If that showed up on camera, do just let me know. I literally think I just saw one that sort of flew across my face. Anyway, if that showed up on camera, how magical. Do check it out and let me know in the comments. So where was I? Yes, I want to say emotional volatility, emotional reactivity. The astrology at the moment is highly, potentially emotionally charged. Now, there's a ton of stuff out there that you can research. Just put onto YouTube The Power of the Mind, and you're going to be inundated with videos that will tell you how to use your mind consciously to navigate from a position of greater empowerment. But in my experience as a therapist, you kind of need to harness the power of your emotions as well as the power of your mind. If you think about, let's say you're in a car and you've decided where you're going to go. Your mind is the bit of you that's at the steering wheel. You're deciding where you're going to go, whether you're going to go straight ahead, turn right, turn left, put the brakes on when it's appropriate, that kind of stuff. So your mind is in charge, let's say, of the navigation. But your emotions are the fuel in the tank. It's your emotions that get you going, make you feel passionate, make you feel motivated, but also can really slow you down. And every emotion has like a higher vibrational energy and a lower vibrational energy. We actually have a choice as to how we use that emotion from a higher or a lower vibrational position. This is the way that emotions work, and it's like the combination of your mind and your emotions together. When you work consciously in this way, I'm sure I saw another orb there. Anyway, how fantastic if we are being inundated with little orbs. I feel that's an extremely good sign that this is a good thing to be talking about. Okay, I even wrote myself a list, which I don't normally do when I'm doing these. I just kind of know what I want to talk about. But okay, so let's rein myself back in, stop wandering off about orbs, and let's talk about emotions and also talk about the current energy. So firstly, let's think about the way that emotions have a higher and a lower vibrational response, and we have a choice. And then let's look at the energy at the moment, literally now, and what's coming, and think about which emotions might be sort of sparked or touched, and how we can use that energy in a really, really positive and high vibrational way. Okay, so let me give you some examples of emotions, the higher, lower vibrations of them. Now, if we think about an emotion such as fear, and none of us want to be in a fearful place, but there's a lot of stuff going on in the world that can really engender fear. It can really press our buttons, sometimes make us revisit past traumas, different past historical anxieties. Overall, globally, we can sit in a place of anxiety and fear. Whether you're in the thick of it or you're even standing back from it, it's really quite hard to avoid that. Now, the higher vibrational energy and essence of fear is that it's a really, really important emotion that helps you to get out of trouble in an immediate way. If you are walking down the street and a car comes along and careers off the road, you need to get out of the way very, very quickly. If fear kicks in, it produces adrenaline and you can move. It creates a fast response that is out of the range of what is normal for you on an everyday, especially in an everyday chilled out, relaxed kind of way. So it serves a purpose. The key here is recognizing that it's the immediacy of it that works. Because let's say that car has careered off the road, you've leapt out of the way, you can breathe a sigh of relief. You need to turn the volume of your fear back down again and return to a space of stillness, of chillness. What tends to happen with fear that can really, really be a challenge for us is situations that cause us to gradually and slowly turn the volume up, and we keep on turning it up and up and up, and we don't reset it, which means we start to move into a space of constant high alert. When we're in a space of constant high alert, we're not able to actually receive information or we're not able to receive it in a present kind of way. Everything that's arriving is arriving through the lens of high alert, which means we're not always interpreting what is happening around us in a clear kind of way. So very, very important to try and reset that emotion. It is a necessary emotion. If we didn't have it, we wouldn't be able to function when we need it. But we need it to not be on high alert all the time. And it's ever so difficult, especially in a world that is very volatile, and there's a lot of volatility going on at the moment, for us to be able to keep that in check. We can consciously do this, taking stillness breaks, really checking in on, am I safe right now in the moment? This is a here and now emotion. Am I literally safe now? I'm anxious. Am I safe right now? Can I turn the volume down? Meditation really helps to bring that, to bring us back into an alignment. Taking regular breathing breaks, going out and being in nature, anchoring yourself, literally taking your shoes and socks off, bare feet on the ground. There are so many tools, and again, Google out there or go onto YouTube and search tools to lower anxiety. There are so many things that we can do. But think about fear and anxiety as a here and now emotion that serves us within the immediacy of a situation. It isn't designed for us to be carrying it with us constantly, because that kind of knocks us out of balance, and it doesn't then help us to engage through a really, really healthy lens of empowerment, of self-empowerment and self-mastery. We lose sight of what we are able to do and what we aren't able to do. If we are loaded with fear, we're far more reactive. So that's just touching base briefly on that emotion. Now, sometimes as a result of fear can then generate anger, particularly if we're seeing things or experiencing things that are not okay in the world. If someone's behaving badly, they've triggered some element of anxiety or indeed a genuine, actual situation of fear. We then understandably feel very angry. Likewise, if changes are happening to us. We are in a space astrologically where change is absolutely at the top of the agenda. Change and transformation. if we're longing for stability and loads of things are going on that are completely unexpected, if things are departing from our lives. And I would be surprised for most people if there isn't something that isn't in some kind of potential transformational change, and every change involves a loss. Loss, sadness, can involve, because losses create sadness. Even if we're moving to something we really want, there's still the sadness that something else previously didn't work out. Change creates a whole set of emotions. And sometimes anything that feels out of our control can bring about an emotional response of anger. The higher vibrational energy of anger is assertiveness. It's empowerment. It's, do you know, I've had enough of that. I'm not tolerating that. I'm standing up for what's right. Or assertiveness, I'm going to do the very best I can. It can create what I would call genuine pride. Pride in achieving, pride in doing what you are good at, being the best that you can be. Assertiveness, energy, you know, anger brings energy. There are actually certain types of depression. I'm very reluctant to use that word in a sort of a blanket way, because the word depression encompasses a multitude of different states. But there are certain types of depression which are absolutely intrinsically connected to the suppression of anger, where we actually should be feeling angry. It's a healthy should. Something isn't right. And the anger, the higher vibration of it, is to help to empower us to move through and beyond something, not to remain frustrated or stuck. If we feel as though we are trapped and we're angry but we can't do anything about it, or we feel we haven't got a voice, that anger can then turn inwards. So there's a lower vibration of anger, which is very much, again, the lower vibration is about hate and rage and, you know, reactivity in a way that causes harm and damage, whether that's internally, whether the energy is pushed internally or outwards. The higher vibration is empowerment. It's assertiveness, making decisions and choices. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm motivated to move forwards. So assertiveness, pride, courage, all are connected with that same energy and essence. Now, let me just talk about the energy that we're in right now. Astrologically, it's as though I used an analogy earlier. I had a conversation in the kitchen here where I work with some people. It was a wonderful, spontaneous conversation, as you have with people, or I certainly have. I'm sure you do too. And I was saying, you know, if you think of the analogy of like a hurricane, a whirlwind, because I feel that's kind of what the energy feels like at the moment. All this stuff is going on and it's moving at a massive rate of knots. Now imagine yourself at the centre of that whirlwind of energy, of events, of circumstances. Loads of stuff is changing, loads of stuff is happening, and we can feel as though we're just drawn into that whirlwind of energy, and nothing is ever going to stop or be stable or stationary. Just when you think that the world is slowing down, it feels like something, maybe the universe throws you another curveball, or something else happens that you just didn't see coming. If you can remain anchored, think of yourself as being in the eye of the storm. And even when things come very close to you, of always having a choice as to how you respond to that emotional energy in terms of your own emotional response. And rather than being reactive, developing your capacity to be responsive and thinking about that energy. Think of emotions as energy in motion. Right, you're driving the car. If we use that analogy, you're driving the car, that's the power of your mind. The emotions are the fuel in the tank. Sometimes it can feel like somebody just put turbocharged fuel in the tank and the accelerator is off and we're not even able to hold the steering wheel. But you are in charge of the steering wheel. Where your mind goes is very much a personal choice. Now, this is real self-mastery. I'm not saying this is easy, and I get it because I've been there, done that, and bought the T-shirt myself, and I can still easily have my buttons pressed and be drawn into things. I think we all can. The key, I think, to self-mastery, one of the keys to becoming a new human, being part of the new earth, is to be able to remain anchored in that eye of the storm and make very conscious decisions about how you use your energy. And this is very much connected to your emotions. Now, I'm not making this video in order to sell a book, but I have written a book about this. It's called Mindfulness Meets Emotional Awareness. You can buy it, but also completely free of charge. You can access a lot of that information from that book. Here on YouTube, I have a playlist of emotional meditations, and those go through the key emotions. It's completely free. You can choose to find them here. Go onto the homepage, find the playlist, and go through the meditations. The meditations will help you to release unwanted emotions that have been stacked up inside of you because you couldn't find a way of navigating them, alongside learning how to use them as a source of empowerment. So do check them out, and you can also check those out on my, I have several websites, but I have a website called the A to Z of Emotional Health. That's www.azemotionalhealth.com. The meditations are there as well, along with loads of other information about emotions. So do check those out. These are resources that are completely free. They're there. Use them if you feel that you are becoming emotionally unanchored. But right now, coming back now to the lunar month. Now, many people, certainly in my experience, I've talked to loads and loads of people, and I've been following the lunar energy for years and years and years. We are made of 75% water, approximately. And the moon is powerful enough to move the water on the earth, to move the tides. It's actually a combination of the magnetic pull of both the moon and the sun. But the point is the water on the earth is moved. And many people notice, especially at a full moon, how deeply they are affected emotionally. And emotions often run really high around the time of a full moon. I mean, I've spoken to policemen, bouncers, bar staff, paramedics, mental health workers, care workers, so many people from so many different professional fields who all keep a really clear record in their diaries of when the full moon is occurring, because they know that things will escalate. When we learn about the incoming lunar energy, we can help to really notice how that energy, the ebb and flow of the lunar energy, affects us each individually from an emotional perspective. Knowledge is power, always. If stuff is just happening to us, it can feel like the universe constantly throws us curveballs and we don't know what to do or how to respond, as if we really are a bit of a sitting duck in a way. The more we develop conscious awareness of ourselves with as many tools as we can actually find to help us to be in a space of presence and stillness to ourselves, to our own emotional responses, the more empowered we can be, the more we can use that energy. So I'm going to dive into, in a moment, the overall flow of energy through the entire moon month and talk to you about the different moon phases. Now, right now, we are in a point of, at the time of creating this video, almost what I would call a point of escalation. It's a bit like a funnel where energy is actually building. There's loads of astrological happenings, and we're building to almost like a little bit of a crescendo. So it's really worthy of being conscious of this and recognizing that emotionally this is a time that feels unpredictable. It doesn't mean it's negative, and I know from talking to so many people, reading the comments here, thank you so much all of you who follow the stuff that I do here, follow my readings and follow the moon updates. I know from reading your comments that you are experiencing phenomenal transitions and changes. Some of them are utterly joyous and everything you've been waiting for. Others can be quite difficult. We are in this space of almost I used the analogy in a reading the other day. It actually came up of, it's like we're sitting in a departure lounge, waiting to get on a flight. And, you know, for some of us, we're on the flight. We're about to arrive somewhere else at a new destination, but we're also departing and leaving things as well. It's this whirlwind of energy. Sometimes things are departing that feel very unexpected. This can cause us to emotionally wobble. If you understand the value of your emotions, whatever's being whatever's being touched within you, even if it's something that's challenging, it's there to inspire you to be motivated to do something different. If you are processing a transition where there's some element of sadness, that's going to be really healthy. The purpose of sadness is that it helps us to release things that are no longer relevant to our lives, no longer serving us. It helps us to cleanse and therefore to begin a healing process. Sadness is an active part of a healing process. I'm finding myself waffling away. This is very spontaneous, this video. So, if you're still with me, thank you so much for bearing with me. I hope this is really useful for you. But I felt after my conversation earlier, just really quite kind of compelled to talk about this, that it might be really, really valuable. So I am going to stop waffling about emotions, but I hope I've given you some information and some idea of the fact that you can harness emotional energy in a way that can be really, really empowering and really valuable. Now, I'm going to move to the moon month and look at the energy of the different moon phases, how that might impact on you emotionally. And I also want to touch base on one other thing before we dive into this. It's a moon thing. I want to talk about the void of course moons, because we've got some real biggies this month. A void of course moon, for those of you that are not familiar with moon language, if you think about the moon as navigating the earth, and as she passes through the energy of each sign, the lunar energy is kind of almost embodies something of the personality of that sign. So it's something that we look at when we follow and work with the moon. She also then passes the planetary collaborations that are going on, and she harnesses and engages with that energy. And when she is passing through a zodiac sign, and she's also sort of disconnected from any of the planetary alignments, it's almost as though her pathway is clear of other influences. And until she enters a new sign, this is what we call a void of course period. And sometimes this can literally be like a minute, and sometimes it can be a few hours, and sometimes it can be really big. When we get big void of course periods, it means it can happen, which it is at the moment, when we have a lot of planets clustered in sort of together. So we've got loads of planets in Pisces and Aries at the moment. When you've got lots of all the planets from our perspective are clustered together, we can get very big void of course moon periods. And these can literally be, over 24 hours a day. And it means the lunar energy is very free-flowing. But it can also feel very uncontained. So if you've got loads of stuff going on in your life and you're feeling as though you just want the world to slow down, and you're desperately trying to get an anchor point, a really big void of course pocket of time can make it feel as though everything is even more escalated. But if you know when that void of course period is ending, and you know that that's what's happening, it really helps you to remain anchored. Because if you know, gosh, there's a 24-hour void of course pocket at this moment in time, I'm feeling like everything is expanding and it's out of my control, and you know there's a void of course pocket, you'll know when it's going to end. And also you can get grounded. You're kind of thinking, okay, I know this is happening. This isn't me. This is not me personally having an overspill or a moment of crisis. This is the lunar energy that's coming in. I'm feeling the lunar energy. I'm feeling that the energy of the water within me being pulled one way or another, or feeling as though there's no containment to that water. And when that happens and you know it, it gives you a very different reference point. It can really stop us from almost fueling the escalation within ourselves. So it's why I really encourage everybody to be aware of the void of course moons. I talk about them every month. I always list them. If there are really big void of course moons, and we have some real biggies this month, I always talk about them once a month in these moon energy updates. Now, if this is something you're wanting to keep track of, I would honestly recommend you might even want to pause this video and go and get a pen and paper, so that you can actually list those long void of course pockets of time. Sometimes if your world is really, really buzzing and you're moving forwards and things are escalating in the direction that you want them to, it can feel really liberating and as though there is nothing in your way, which is fab. But if you are experiencing a big wobble, it can actually exacerbate that. So it's really helpful to understand or to be aware of when these are happening. So I'm going to touch base on those as well, because we have some seriously big void of course pockets in this coming moon month. So I'm going to bring up some slides, run through all of the moon phases and the kind of energy that we can expect, and also touch base when each of those really big void of course moon periods are happening. Okay, so a moon month is 29 and a half days. That's the time it takes for the moon to navigate around our Earth. And so a moon month doesn't necessarily start on the first of the month. Every moon month begins with a new moon. We've got a 29 and a half day cycle, and the moon navigates through various different moon phases. These are the moon phases. A moon month starts with the new moon. We go through the waxing crescent, the first quarter, the waxing gibbous, the full moon, waning gibbous, the third or last quarter, and the waning crescent. And each of these moon phases brings a very different flavour of energy. There's a very different sort of ebb and flow of energy for each of these moon phases. Now let's have a quick look at the void periods, those void of course periods that I spoke about. Now this is just an overview. I'll talk about them as we go through the month, but you can see we've got some really huge ones this month. Between the 20th and 21st of March, we've got one that is 21 hours 12 minutes. It's massive. We have another on the 24th to 25th, which is 11 hours, 57 minutes. Between the 2nd and 3rd of April, 27 hours, 17 minutes. On the 17th, the reason it's in black is because we have one that's 4 hours, 7 minutes. For me, I tend to make a note of any void of course pockets that are kind of 5 hours or more. This is borderline for me as to whether it will be hugely impactful, but I've put it in anyway just because it is a 4-hour one. There are void of course moons between almost every sign, but I mean we've actually got some that are literally 1 minute long as well, but we also have these huge ones. There's another between the 20th and 21st of April, 35 hours 43 minutes, and another on the 30th of April through to the 1st of May, 10 hours, 11 minutes. So these are genuinely significant pockets of time that I think are really worth being aware of. So let's now check out the new moon. Now, this is the beginning of the coming moon month. The new moon is on March the 18th or 19th in Pisces. Now, interestingly enough, even though there is a huge amount of turbulence and I would say massive global and personal transformation, which I've just spoken about, and I think we know this. You can tune into any amazing astrologer here on YouTube, and I'm sure that you will be hearing the same thing. This new moon actually does bring in an energy of sort of like a magical point of power, arriving a bit like a breath of fresh air. And what makes it a breath of fresh air is our awareness of how to use the emotional energy as a point of power. Whatever volatility is going on, if you can sit in the middle of that storm and remain anchored, the energy is really primed to support personal empowerment. So this moon sits right on the cusp of Pisces and Aries, so is really aligning with all of the astrology that's happening in that area of our heavens. This new moon, which means the sun and the moon are sitting together, also sits within the 4-day window of the equinoxes. This is the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere, the autumn equinox in the southern hemisphere. And truly, the energy today is it's not just primed to get going, it's literally turbocharged. We're shifting into a space where dreams that we have been dreaming of, while there was a lot of astrology going on in Pisces, everything is shifting into Aries, which is the sign of I am. So we're really moving into this kind of, it's like a point of power, basically. Now, this is a day when your manifestations can get a serious boost and be launched to the next level. But this could also be including the removal of any blocks or challenges or aspects of life that no longer serve you. So I want to say align your dreams and your wishes and your desires with a higher purpose and the greatest good for all, and send them out into the universe and see what comes back. Think about the power. In fact, let me just bring myself back onto the screen. Think about that combination of you being at the steering wheel of a car and your emotions are the fuel in the tank. Think about planting wishes and intentions on this day within this energy that is primed to move something forwards. Plant what you want to see. Put what you want to see into the world with a high vibrational energy of passion, of desire, of enthusiasm. If there's something going on you don't like, lean into the energy of, wow, this has shown me what I don't like, so therefore I now know what I do want. I want to see change. This is what I would like to see in the world. Sow the seeds with passion and enthusiasm of everything that you want to see manifest and change. And the energy will then be you're in alignment with the energy, which means you're working with it rather than against it. I hope that's making some sense. Let's move on and look at the moon times, and I'll let you know why the moon times with the new moon are particularly important depending on where you are on our beautiful planet. So these are the new moon global timings, or a selection of them. Now, the reason the timing is really quite valuable is because when the sun and the moon come together, which is what happens when we have a new moon, it's like a point of conception. It's the divine masculine sitting with the divine feminine, and symbolically and energetically, this creates a point of fertility. So if you know the exact time in your location, you can harness that fertility. You can sow those seeds of intent, of wishes, of desires at the exact point of conception, the exact point of fertility. If you're not able to tune into the exact point, that's okay. But in an ideal world, you would sort of set your wishes and intentions at the exact point and within the 8 hours following it. It's almost as though there is this sort of pocket of time, this window of time where fertility is absolutely at its best. A bit like sowing seeds in a garden, and you've prepared the soil and everything is absolutely good to go, and you know that it's going to rain. So it's the perfect time to sow your seeds and know that then the universe, as it were, is going to come along and water your seeds and help things to get going. The moon then moves into her waxing crescent moon phase. This is from March the 20th to the 24th. And she's going to pass through the energy of Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. And we do have one of those huge void of course pockets of time as she moves from Aries into Taurus. Now there's so much happening in Aries, so it's a very, very potentially intense pocket of time. And as we've already acknowledged, this is sort of happening on the exact day of the equinox, which follows that new moon. Now the equinox symbolises a major turning point anyway. Also, the Mercury retrograde period, which is often associated with delays and disruptions, comes to an end on this day. Now, this often heralds, when a planet stations direct, it heralds an intensity of the energy. So if there are any hiccups in things, just trust that this will shift and move forwards. If there are any hiccups, it may be that there's something you need to tweak or course correct or be aware of in order to then move forwards more smoothly. Now, the combination of all of the energies is then followed by some very, very flowing planetary alignments during this pocket of time. And these are in turn propelled by the moon's energy, which is gathering and inviting and supporting progressions. So whether you're working on something that's brand new or something that's ongoing, and whether this is sort of internal work or something in your external world, this is actually a really favourable moon time to initiate a fresh start or a new phase of development. And these dynamics of flow are actually favourable throughout, and the lunar energy is going to support this. So this is a really good time to get things going. The void of course pocket of time, 21 hours, 12 minutes, be conscious of it. Because if you are feeling a little bit as though things are out of your control, it will be really, really helpful to just remain anchored. If you're wanting to really get things going and you're needing a turbocharge of energy, where you're feeling as if you want to move out of anything that's previously been restricting you, this may be a pocket of time when you really, really can get going. So be conscious of the timing of this. The moon then arrives at her first quarter moon position. Now this is on the 25th or 26th of March, depending on where you are on our beautiful planet, and the moon will be in Cancer. We have another void of course pocket of time as the moon moves into this first quarter position. This is 11 hours 57 minutes between the 24th and the 25th. So we arrive into this energy within a void of course pocket of time. Now, the first quarter moon naturally invites evaluation, and this moon is connecting directly with the incredible energy of restructure that is currently influencing humanity at large. And of course, it's not only humanity that's responding to the planetary energies, nature and Earth herself are calling for change. Traditionally, a first quarter moon brings external circumstances and events that help us to identify, resolve, climb up, climb over any hurdles or obstacles that are in the way of our progress. Now, whether this day brings personal insights or even more global perspectives, this moon is particularly favourably underpinned with an energy that is suggesting windows of opportunity that are promoting and activating rebirth and transformation, particularly through higher-minded, higher vibrational solutions that are aligning with the bigger picture. So I really want to say, if at all possible, take time today to observe and notice. You might actually find, just because of the energy that's happening, significant insights may well come to light that support you in creating very powerful and very effective changes. Now, for those of you that are really interested in the moon, if you're on my tarot course, you'll know that I'm also doing a series of moon seminars. And actually this month we are looking at the first quarter moon energy in depth. Now, following the quarter moon, the first quarter, the moon enters her waxing gibbous moon phase. This will be from March the 26th through to April the 1st. She will pass through Cancer, Leo, Virgo, and then into Libra. Now, the energy of this period is big, it's huge. During any waxing gibbous moon phase, the lunar influence is strengthening, getting bigger and bigger. This is where the moon moves from the first quarter until she reaches the full moon. And very often people find that emotions particularly are building and gathering. Now, the lunar influence is definitely strengthening and naturally heralding expansion in this time. However, the underpinning dynamics are also calling for sound and solid evaluation that will lead to restructure and rebirth, but in real terms. This is also underpinned by a terrific flow of energy that looks to gather momentum. I feel it's like a river that's going to grow in strength as it moves towards the sea. And this momentum has a very karmic kind of feel to it, as if destiny and fate may have a hand in the events and circumstances that unfold at this time. And there are also some very strong spikes of energy within this pocket of time that push for change and transformation and healing, but very specifically through open, honest communications. So I kind of want to say, don't be surprised if events unfold that call you to action. And if they do, think about the emotional content. This is what we were talking about at the beginning of this video. Navigate with care and integrity. Integrity holds a very, very high vibrational energy. Integrity will even out your emotions. Integrity will direct your emotions through the higher vibration of that emotion. If you're operating with integrity, with compassion, with care, then even if you're experiencing something that is involves upheaval or something that's difficult, the moment you bring in compassion, care, integrity, you can harness the energy of the emotion in a powerfully positive, transformational way. Whereas if you're operating in a reactive, retaliatory kind of way, it immediately lowers the vibration. So literally, integrity really is a very, very important sort of tool to being able to harness emotions in a powerfully positive direction. We then have the full moon in Libra. And remember, the Libran energy wants balance. This is on April the 1st or 2nd, depending on where you are on our beautiful planet. as we come out of this full moon, we have a massive void of course pocket of time. So we're literally going to have the energy of the full moon and then launch into a 27-hour, 17-minute void of course period. So be aware of this again. Now, when I look at the chart of this moon, the qualities that immediately sprang to my mind were truth, honesty, justice, equality, fairness, balance, and back to wonderful integrity. Now, this is a moon that is literally inviting you to embrace these qualities through self-mastery and personal choice. Now, I think self-mastery is about authenticity, accountability, and awareness of our actions, not only on ourselves, but on the world at large, because we are all related, we're all interconnected. Now, a full moon is traditionally thought to illuminate what we need to see so that we can take appropriate action. Now, this could be letting go of something that no longer serves. It could be stepping forwards towards something. The way might be illuminated. It could be both. The overall flavour of this moon, though, does look to promote action, so you might feel as if events are pushing you to move. The energy is fiery and yet also flowing, but with an undercurrent that suggests the potential for changeability and rapid, fast events. So if something in your world shows up, suddenly or unexpectedly, you can be sure it's arriving with the purpose of aligning you with all of the high vibrational qualities that are embodied in the energy of this day. So truth, honesty, justice, equality, fairness, balance, integrity. If you think of that as the high vibrational flavour of the day, and your task, coming back to your mind and your emotions, is to embrace these qualities through the power of your thought and channel your emotions into avenues of action that support all of these high vibrational qualities. Remember, we then move literally from the full moon into a space where the lunar energy is sort of wide open and happening. So again, depending on what is happening in your world, consciousness. This is what self-mastery is all about: consciousness, accountability, conscious actions, thought through actions, thinking about how you are driving your car, rather than putting your foot down, slowing it down, taking time, pulling over if you need to, and taking a moment of stillness before you push forwards. This is the self-mastery, self-responsibility through awareness that we are working with. I mean, this really is a moon month where we are embodying everything that the universe is sending our way to enable us to step into these high vibrational positions of what it means to be a new human, which is to act through accountability, authenticity, awareness, self-mastery, and personal conscious choice. Now, these are the full moon dates. Now, the value, again, of understanding the exact nature of the dates is, depending on where you are on our beautiful planet, very often around the full moon, the exact point, you can really feel the energy shift. So if you have been finding yourself in an emotional build-up, this is almost the point when you can come up for air, you can breathe. If you've been feeling stuck or frustrated, it may be the point when you can, as it were metaphorically, take the handbrake off and start to move forwards and get going. So just be thoughtful of these times. It's really, really useful to know the timing in your location. The moon then moves into what we call her disseminating or waning gibbous moon phase. So this is from the full moon down to the last quarter. At this point, the energy is big, but it steadies. Now, this is running through from April the 3rd to April the 9th, and the moon will pass through Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, and Capricorn. Now, right at the beginning of this moon time, the lunar influence genuinely is relatively steady. I want to say take advantage of this, because the energy then intensifies because of all the other astrology that's going on. And there is an emphasis on relationships, particularly, coming back to emotions, particularly the emotional undercurrents of your connections and how you feel. So, how do you feel about yourself? How do you feel about others? How do you feel about your relationship to your external circumstances, to your home, your working world, the stuff of your life? We then see a really interesting shift in energy that could actually suggest a desire to break away from restrictions. Now, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this period pans out. We've got this steady start, but then there's this sort of big emotional undercurrent that could even push us to feeling like we need to break away from stuff. Now, if you are in any way uncertain about any connections in your world, and you're not really sure whether or not you are ready to move forwards. I mean, this could be bringing in some really big excitement and spontaneity into your relationships and your circumstances. And you might even choose to make some really big changes. But it could also be heralding times when something needs to change because it's not working anymore. If you're not sure about anything, then I would honestly say, put the brakes on, listen to your emotions as a source of empowerment, but hold fire and wait for the last quarter moon, because the energy of a last quarter moon brings us a space of personal evaluation. That's the nature of the energy. And we can really use that energy to decide what we want to do and how best to move forwards. So the last quarter moon, this is on April the 9th or 10th, depending on where you are on our beautiful planet, and the moon will be in Capricorn. Now, given the rather fascinating, somewhat intense dynamics of the previous moon phase, the flavour of this last quarter moon actually does emphasise possibilities. And it brings a fabulous pocket of time to review and evaluate. It really does. Now, the lunar influence flows through the ambitious and yet also very practical and pragmatic energy of Capricorn. And given the other planetary alignments that are emphasising creativity and new beginnings with awareness of conscious personal choice, your own self-mastery, your own self-empowerment, but also with awareness of others, this is genuinely a good day to look ahead and formulate plans for the future. A last quarter moon literally does sort of invite us to walk our talk and to be very conscious of the part that we each play in creating our own personal circumstances. It's got an energy where we have the opportunity to see whether we are sort of manifesting from the inside out. You know, are you being the change that you wish to see in the world? Are you walking your talk? What do you want to create? What do you want to manifest? Are you living the energy of what you wish to create? So be sure to align your goals and desires with all that you wish to see in the world. This is a fabulous day, a really good day to literally align yourself so that you can then move forwards with your manifestations in a way that is perfectly in flow with the energy of transformation and the energy of possibility. The moon then moves into her balsamic or waning crescent moon phase. This is from April the 11th to the 16th, and she will pass through Aquarius, Pisces and Aries. Now, this moon time begins with a very strong surge of energy that suggests, back to emotions, suggests heightened emotions. Now, if changes were indicated during your last quarter moon review, you might now feel the emotional impact of these possibilities. It's rather like if change is needed and you recognise it, you're now actually really feeling the implications of this. The moon then aligns with some very dynamic connections that are actually sort of calling for change and transformation. And even though our beautiful moon is bringing a softening energy, the balsamic or waning crescent moon phase is much more gentle. The moon is diminishing. Her energy is more gentle. But the overall undercurrents are very fast. They have a really fast pace about them. So this could be amazing because it could be helpful if you want things to shift quickly, but it could be a little bit too fast and therefore a little bit confusing. So be mindful of this. Now, the dynamics also suggest the potential for signs and synchronicities that could actually bring very specific areas of your world into focus. So I really want to say throughout this period, try to be consciously steady whilst also being simultaneously flexible and open to change. This is a good moon time to, what I would say, practice the art of allowing. Be responsive, allow yourself to feel what's coming through, listen to those emotions again, but rather than acting upon them, sort of allow them to filter through you and notice what they might be telling you and think about consciously how you might want to respond. And you may need to be flexible, open to change, because sometimes the direction that we think we should be going in, or the way that we thought we would approach something, can shift and change. And if you think about the universe as having the upper hand and being in a space where we trust that, even if it feels a little bit wobbly, that's kind of the energy of this moon time. We then actually begin a new moon month with the next new moon. This will be on April the 17th in Aries. And we also do have a 4-hour, 7-minute, void of course, pocket of time on this day. I will talk about this next month when I do next month's moon energy update. As always, this is something that I do every single month. Now, in a couple of days' time, at the time of recording this, I will be doing a collective tarot reading experience here on YouTube. It's a live event. It actually happens to fall on the very day of our new moon in Pisces. Bring your tarot cards, bring your oracle cards, and in alignment with the moon, we're going to read cards together. Every month I do a moon month seminar. I spoke about this a moment ago. In fact, let me bring me back onto the screen. So each month, as part of my ongoing training work and seminars and courses, just before the new moon, I do a live seminar on Zoom where we are learning to manifest with the moon in real depth. And we do a moon meditation as well for that particular, the energy of that particular new moon. And I also look at the kind of tribal influences and the Celtic tree lore. I mean, all kinds of things. There's so many layers to manifesting with the moon. Now, if you are doing my tarot course, it's automatically added to your bundle of courses. Whenever I do anything extra, for anyone doing my big tarot course, it's just added. Anything extra is added. I'm going to be doing a course on working with runes. It will automatically be added to your tarot course. If you're interested in any of these things, I've put links below in the description. I'll put them in one of the comments as well. If you're interested in learning any of these things or joining any of these things, the links are below. My tarot course is currently half price, and I have managed, which I'm ever so proud of myself for doing because I'm not a technical person, I've managed to achieve a system whereby you can actually pay for it even at half price over 6 months. So it does make it really, really accessible, and you get the moon seminars as well. Also, somebody on Patreon asked, because I have a Patreon community and a YouTube members community here as well. It's where I put my extended readings every month for the all zodiac signs. Somebody asked whether there was any possibility of putting some of the recordings of the seminars onto Patreon and in the YouTube members area. And bless you, yes, I will attempt to do that. It might take me a little while, so please bear with me, but hopefully within the next couple of weeks, I'll get those seminars and indeed the meditations that we do over there for you. I'm truly, truly humbled to be connected with every single one of you in whatever capacity we are connected. I am thrilled and honoured to be here reading for you, talking about the moon. These are areas where I just feel so passionate about these areas because we're working with energy. It's the same when we're working with tarot cards. We're working with energy. Tarot cards have a consciousness. And my course is a really in-depth course. We're really learning about the depth of psychological and emotional awareness that comes with the cards as well. But anyway, I'm going to stop waffling away. But if you are interested in any of these things or you'd like to look at the recordings, I should be getting them on Patreon and in the YouTube members area as well. Beautiful souls, thank you beyond belief for being here. Thank you for bearing with me all the way through this video. I hope it's going to be of use to you and of value. For me, learning about the energy of the moon has been absolutely life-changing. So it is a real privilege and honour to be sharing this information with you, and thank you so much, all of you, for just being here and connecting here on YouTube. Tons of love, and I hope some of you might come to the collective reading. It's a totally free event. It's here on YouTube. Come and read your cards with me. It will be amazing to be, to meet you all in it, albeit virtually. It will be amazing to meet you all. Tons of love.